everybody. Welcome to another week of streams. I think some of your guesses for what I'd be wearing today are pretty hilarious. Some of them I wish were my outfits. I like the one that said I was going to go full Rambo. That's pretty hilarious. Thank you for joining me. We have another very juicy stream. Lloyd, thank you for gifting a membership. Quite generous of you. And on that note, another week of streams means another gift of memberships from myself. So I'm giving out, as always, 5 free memberships at the beginning of every week. Here we go. Here it comes. There we go. I memorized my credit card code, so I'm all ready to go. Oh, yeah. There we go. 5 more memberships. Oh, and Jerome, always gifting a membership. So kind. Big League Chew, thank you also for gifting a membership. Even one membership is so welcome because you allow somebody else to come join the party. So I inspired by your own memberships, give 5 at the beginning of every week. Oh, look at Paul gifting another membership. Jojo Bell as well. Zay gifted a membership. It's raining memberships. I love it. Welcome back, Stephen. All right, so the way these streams work, for those of you who are new to the party, welcome. I will talk about the 3 stories of the day. At the end of each story, I'll open it up to discussion. Thanks for gifting a membership, Emmanuel. You too, smart girl. Sadie, Daniel. I love it. If you ask a question or do a super chat before I've opened up the subject to questions, I may or may not be able to answer it. You're rolling the dice. You're taking a chance. Up to you. And then, though, at the end of the stream, as always, there are 10 minutes of Ask Me Anything. So you can ask me anything you'd like for the final 10 minutes of the stream, no problem. So save your random questions for then. Hey, Drago, welcome back. And yeah, I'm glad I was able to find out some stuff for a story today. Thanks, Green Lantern's Light. It's very generous of you. 5 memberships. John gifted a membership. Wow. Wowie, wow, wow. So the thing is it's very slow right now. It's always slow in August, but the strikes, the Writers Guild strike and now the Actors strike are making things even slower. There's not even really news to cover because nobody can do any deals. So it's real slow right now, but we managed to put together another stream, and I have some cool ideas for streams that I'll probably do at this point next week. This week got a little messed up. I have some maintenance that needs to be done in my apartment that I have to supervise, and then I have to clean up after it. And it's nothing like bad, but it's just, it takes time. I'm glad it's happening during an exceptionally slow period. Hey, Raphael, Ross, thank you for gifting a membership. Aaron, thank you for gifting a membership. It's very, Ricardo, maybe we will do one stream will be a full Q&A. I know you guys like the full Q&A, so that makes me very happy. All right, let's get started. All right, here we go. All right, story number 1. Boop. Oh, no, I covered up James Gunn's face. Oh, no. Oh, no. Here we go. We don't want to be rude. Okay, there you go. All right, so it is a slow news cycle. So even the trades are grasping at straws. So when David Ayer decided to exasperatedly tweet or send out an X post, what is this X? Every time I see someone talk about Twitter now, people are like, X, formerly Twitter. And I'm like, this is so stupid. All right, so anyway, so they're like, he made an X post. It's like the X-Men should sue. Marvel should sue and be like, we're the X-Men, thank you very much. But David Ayer, somebody once again brought up the Ayer Cut. And David Ayer, because he also has nothing else to talk about, David Ayer was like, what do you want from me, man? Like, what am I supposed to do? I told people I wanted to put it out there. And then he said, James Gunn told me we're going to put it out there someday. The exact quote was, James Gunn said that Ayer Cut would have its time to be shared. That's the quote. And then also, David Ayer said, I happen to know that my cut, the Ayer Cut, plays better than the studio release. All right, let me tell you something. No way would a studio release a cut of a movie that didn't play as well as another cut. That's why they test these things within an inch to their lives. Sometimes they test them to death. But still, whatever gets the better numbers is going to play. Like, for instance, I don't know if you've been paying attention to all the cut scenes from Barbie, but they were right to cut a lot of those scenes. Hey, Matt Morey, I'm like, you guys were right to cut those scenes. I've seen a couple of that over the past few weeks with like fans or Barbie fan sites, you know, doing the detective work and finding all this behind the scenes stuff that showed stuff they were going to have in the movie. They were right to cut it. It should never see the light of day, even in like a director's cut or extras. So anyway, if the Ayer cut truly tested better, that would have been released in theaters for sure. I mean, we're also talking about a guy, David Ayer, who said F Marvel at the premiere for the movie. Remember that? He stood on stage and he actually said F Marvel, and everyone was like, whoa, man, you're supposed to be above all this. And then also, let's think about all the other movies that David Ayer has made. Sorry. Hey, Luna, thanks for gifting a membership. Like, I mean, I think maybe he wrote Training Day. He didn't even direct it. And that, of course, obviously is a legendary film. I think Fury was only okay, Mika. But, you know, for the most part, I don't think David Ayer has ever made like a really great movie. I mean, I think he's made a passable movie, but I've never been like, you know, it's not like he has this wonderful track record and then you're like, ooh, Suicide Squad doesn't fit with the rest of those movies. You know, you're like, that seems like, you know, I mean, I know that it got hacked up to death by a trailer editor, but, you know, cry me a river, man. I mean, like, a lot of DC directors have problems, you know. I mean, it is unusual, but Marvel directors are starting to have trouble now, too. So, like, what do you want from me, man? All right, so I think there's a very strong chance that James Gunn is just telling people what they want to hear when they have meetings with him, you know, and also when they talk to him in general. Like, I think he's telling not only fans what they want to hear, thanks for gifting a membership, Ross, but also talent. I think he's telling talent what they want to hear. Like, for instance, James Gunn already got caught in a lie with Ben Affleck. Then he went and told Gal Gadot that we will make Wonder Woman 3. And she went and told everybody, and I'm sure, and James Gunn, by the way, didn't say anything. James Gunn has said he wasn't going to weigh in so much on, you know, rumors and stuff like that. But I think he could have backed up Gal Gadot. He was oddly quiet when she was like, oh yeah, James Gunn and Peter Safran told me we were going to make a Wonder Woman 3 and they were going to develop it with me. And James Gunn was like, doom. Meanwhile, it was his birthday the other day and James Gunn was like trying so hard to get himself trending for his birthday. He was like, did you know today's my birthday? And he was talking about his birthday and he was releasing a playlist for his birthday and he was like, hey, guess whose birthday it is, everybody? So he's active on social media. It's not like he's somebody who's like, oh, I didn't see that day, or I try to stay off social media. He just was like, good luck, Gal Gadot, and didn't say anything. So, I mean, that looked pretty bad. And now David Ayer. And James Gunn still didn't say anything. James Gunn didn't say, yeah, I did say that. And yeah, he didn't say, yeah, David, someday I'm sure your Ayer cut will be released. He just, again, was like totally silent. Hey, Danny. And just let David Ayer be out there being like, James Gunn told me we were going to release it. And you're like, I don't think that means anything these days. Like, absolutely zilch, man. So I think it's like, you know, I think that James Gunn doesn't want to be the bad guy, but you can't have any real power and not have that situation. It's almost impossible. I mean, unless you're just like a silent ninja like Kevin Feige. Like, does anyone even know what Kevin Feige's voice really sounds like? You know? Like, he never says anything. So I think that's kind of a good way to go. Now, I will admit that I am still captivated by Jared Leto's Joker. When I see that picture of Jared Leto in his tuxedo with half his face messed up from some kind of explosion and he clearly face planted into the dirt, but his lipstick still looks great. How does he do it? We want his makeup tips. You know, I'm like, that is some real no smudge lipstick there, Joker. But, you know, I'm still kind of curious in this scene, I will say. You know, I don't dream about it. It doesn't haunt me. But I am like, it does look pretty cool. So I do think that's the only thing maybe keeping anybody interested in this cut. All right, so I will put a poll up because I know you guys like the poll, and then I'm going to talk about the pros and cons. And you guys can put pros and cons in too, and I'll call some of them out. Okay, so hold on, wait a second. Hey, Elliot. All right, let's see here. Now, I did a poll on Twitter, and some Ayer Cut fans were like, Grace is trying to dilute the yeses by giving multiple yes options. And I'm like, okay, this poll will just do two. Yeah, you know, pro and negative. So do you want the Ayer Cut? Yes and no. Keep it simple. You got two choices. All right, so I'll talk about the pros and the cons. And by the way, even if you're not a member, you can vote in the polls. Only members can comment, but anybody watching, hello to everybody there, you can vote in the poll. So it's fun for everybody. All right, so pros. You know, James Gunn obviously would like to keep Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn around, although let her be Barbie. And I think there are some actresses who could do a much better job with Harley Quinn. You know, I get a little frustrated. You know, if we want to give David Ayer credit, let's give him credit for something he did do, and that's reinvent Harley Quinn. I think Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn ideas weren't very good because they didn't do very good. The Birds of Prey movie didn't do very well. So I think, and you know, as Kevin just said, you know, her Harley never really got a lot of traction at the box office. I think that Lady Gaga's going to do a great job. And Ross, I agree that Anya Taylor-Joy would be a much better Harley Quinn. I think there are a lot of actresses who, you know, let's give them a shot. And I think Margot Robbie has a very exciting career ahead of her, so she doesn't need to do this anymore. But however, it would be a way for James Gunn to keep her in the spotlight, but at the same time, it's not him. You know, it's not, he didn't do it. Oh, this is David Ayer's movie. So that would kind of help. And also, he just gets along very well with Margot Robbie. He's a big fan of hers, let's say. So it would be something nice to do for her, kind of. Although maybe she even at this point is like, I too would like to move on from Harley Quinn. So, I mean, I guess maybe he'd have to see how she would react and if she would support it. Sorry, I have to ride the light because a cloud behind me is going crazy. All right, then I think it would make the Snyder Cut less special. And I think that's a win for James Gunn. You know, Zack Snyder's shadow still weighs very heavily over DC, right? A lot of ownership. He's still kind of, I think, to many, the king of DC. And, you know, James Gunn would very much like to be now the king of DC. So he could dilute the specialness of the Snyder Cut by having another cut. Well, I mean, that's one of my problems. I don't like that it dilutes the Snyder Cut, quite frankly. Also, it would drive traffic to Max, and Max sure could use it, you know. So, you know, that's always a value. You know, hey, you want to see the Snyder Cut? Although, the Ayer Cut, that is funny you bring that up, Jerome. I do feel that James Gunn, his style, always, it's very Zack Snyder-y. All right, so anyway, yeah, it would drive traffic to Max. And I mean, even though the Snyder Cut had a lot of piracy, it would be advertising for Max. And I don't think it would be as expensive as the Snyder Cut because so much of the Snyder Cut needed to be completed. I mean, let me tell you this. If they were going to release the Ayer Cut, I would not sink a lot of money into it. I'd be like, let them see the unfinished VFX shots, quite frankly, because I'm just not giving that this much money. There's like no way I would sink that much money into it. Like $70 million? Forget it. I'd be like, what's it look like right now? If it was good enough to screen in front of an audience, it's good enough for me to put on Max. Thank you very much. It's a learning experience. Here's what a movie looks like in post before we've done all the VFX. I don't think the Ayer Cut is ready to go, Ross. I mean, I think it's ready. I think you could watch it, but I'm sure it needs a couple of tweaks. Then as for the cons, right there, too expensive, way too expensive. And then also, you know, at some point, DC just needs to move on. You know, it just can't be forever weighed down by the past. So that's how I feel about it. All right, so let's take a look at the poll. We got a lot of votes here. 60% basically said no. So, but you know, 40% ain't nothing. So again, if it didn't cost me any money and I didn't have to complete it and I could release it as is, I would just put it on Max. But I'm not putting any money into this. It's just not worth it, quite frankly. All right, so that's what I would do. Because I do kind of want to see Jared Leto's sequences. As a DC fan, I'd want to see the sequences. You know, as somebody who covers this content, it would be valuable to me to be able to cover, like, you know, the new sequences. So sure. William says, give me 10 million. Come on, 10 million. Maybe. I'd have to see what my money situation was looking like. But I would like to see what that sequence looks like with the Joker. All right, so before we move on to the next story of the day, does anybody have any questions or comments about the Ayer Cut? Frosty Salt says, can they just re-release his scenes? That's an interesting thing. You know, when the Snyder Cut came out, a lot of people were like, you know, because they only started from the beginning, they were like, this is the same movie. So that's something else to consider, you know, and it would be such a big commitment. You know, the Snyder Cut was like a 3.5 hour commitment. So, maybe you just want to be like, new stuff, and maybe they could do a behind-the-scenes special. Maybe that's a good idea. You might be onto something there. Who said that? I think that was William, right? Yeah, William. You know what who said could they just do Frosty Salt. I agree with Frosty Salt. They're doing a lot of documentaries these days. I'd stick up a backdrop, I'd put David Ayer in front of it, and I'd say, hey, David Ayer, tell me about your Ayer cut and why you made the choices that you did. And then that would be extremely inexpensive, and I wouldn't have to do the VFX on it, and that's a good idea. I like this. Stephen Turner says, Con, if they release this at this point, it will only further annoy people and make people point out the hypocrisy of shelving Batgirl over other films. Heck, man, bring Batgirl out here. Although I don't know what that's going to do to their tax thing. But, Way Harris says, Max equals director's cut. What's stopping everyone else? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Harry Joe says, honestly, I doubt the Joker scenes will dramatically change the film. You can't polish a turd, as they say. I don't know. That looks like a pretty shiny turd to me right there. I mean, that turd's wearing a tux and flawless makeup, so I'm not sure. Sadie, I agree. I kind of like Jared Leto's Joker. Dwight says, add Barbie to the Ayer cut. I must say, they kind of Barbied Harley Quinn, didn't they? Sean says, I still think Juno Temple would be a good Harley. Maybe. I don't know. I got kind of tired of her character on Ted Lasso, so these days, no. Not in my opinion. Mr. Andrew says, I don't think DC will ever be able to move on without a hard reboot. I agree. I said the day that James Gunn was hired that would haunt him. And he doesn't care. Let's see here. Jojo Bell says, why are these director's cuts even a thing? Well, they all feel they're going to get redemption. Director's cuts have always been a thing. There's a director's cut of Blade Runner, which I think is inferior to the theatrical cut, quite frankly. I agree. They were right not to release Ridley Scott's cut. By the way, the other day, Ridley Scott just sucker punched Denis Villeneuve in the face, and he was like, I should have directed the new Blade Runner. I made a mistake. And it's like, Denis Villeneuve was just sitting there, man. Leave him alone. I don't really think it would have changed it that much, quite frankly. I think the script and all that stuff was a big part of it. But anyway, with every movie, the director does a first cut. Because they're the director, particularly if they have any kind of pull. They do a cut of the film and they present it to the studio. And then the studio, because they're too afraid to make any decisions, they put it out to be tested by audiences. And so it's tested by audiences. I'm sure some of you have participated in these. You fill out little comment cards, and sometimes you're invited to be part of a focus group afterwards, and they find out what you liked and you didn't like about the movie. And then it starts to get changed. And that's what happens. And sometimes directors are like, oh, you ruined my movie. And sometimes they're right, and sometimes they're wrong, quite frankly. But that's why director's cuts exist. Al Watch says, what did you see at the Warner Brothers lot when this movie first came out? What do you mean? I've been on the Warner Brothers lot, but I wasn't there when this movie first came out. B. Weeb says, they lost millions on the Snyder Cut. Didn't they learn? I think they did learn, B. Weeb. I think David Ayer's just saying stuff. He's just out there saying stuff, man. Jander says, could Will Smith revive from this? That's an interesting wrinkle as well, Jander, that I didn't think about. Will Smith's a part of this cut, obviously, and do they really want to deal with that as well? I'm not sure. That's tough. That's tough to decide. Sean Turner says, Barry and Anya Taylor-Joy would be a great Joker-Harley combo. I agree, although I'm a little nervous about Barry Keoghan's Joker. He was tough to look at, but, that was obviously the point. Sadie, you want to give Ayer a whole Max DC series? I don't know. I don't know. You'll notice that nobody today wants to give David Ayer any money whatsoever in any way. Let's see, did I miss a super chat? I'm going back to look. Harry Joe says, honestly, I doubt I already got that one. I don't see your comment, Navy EMT. If it's too far back, I can't go back to it. Thanks, B. Weeb. That's nice of you to say. Dory Does Voices says, Grace, how did you feel about Fury by David Ayer? I thought it was okay. I didn't love it, I never have any desire to watch it again, and I wouldn't recommend that you watch it. But, the weekend it came out, it was okay to watch. That's how I feel about a lot of movies. I just like going to the theater. So sometimes it's like, okay, I guess, this'll do. But then other times I'm like, nobody should ever watch that again. AG68 says, I want him to release his unplanned Gotham City Sirens. Oh, no, I think David Ayer should never touch Gotham City Sirens. Lewis Berry says, hope to also get the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. No, I don't like these cuts. Big Lee Chu says, I really only want to see Jared Leto's sequences, quite frankly. Big Lee Chu says, I wish they would have stuck with the original plot that was rumored. Yeah. And then Raphael, who does his first super chat, says, DC doesn't seem like it's doing a hard reboot. It does not. It does not. All right, let's move on to the next story of the day. All right. Don't worry if you have other questions. There's going to be a big thing at the end. All right. Hold on. Wait a minute. Story number 2. This is a good one. This is juicy. I like this one. Boop. Oh, Marvel has more problems. Hollywood has more problems. Oh, another section is threatening to go on strike. Okay, 1 second. Navy EMT got their thing in here. Why not release it for sale for $20 like they did with Superman 2, the Donner Cut? Keep it off Max and make it for the fans. I think because they would be able to, sales are tracked and that thing could go immediately into the bargain bin. And, DC just can't keep taking hits like that. It's too dangerous, quite frankly. All right, so let's talk about this juicy story. Kevin Feige's like, what did I do? Kevin Feige must have spit on a witch somewhere. Because he was like the most celebrated man ever. He was a golden Hollywood god. Everything he touched turned to gold. And then suddenly, it's just disaster everywhere he looks. I mean, it's so bad. It's so bad. And now he has this huge problem with the VFX. He's like, why me? Because not all, oh, that's right, Mika, he disrespected Wanda. That's right, he killed a witch. He flattened a witch at the end of Multiverse of Madness. And his life was never the same. Oh, I like that. That's really funny. That's hilarious. I'm going to tweet that. Hold on. Let me tweet that. That's just too funny. One has to wonder if by flattening Wanda in Multiverse of Madness, by flattening the witch Wanda. Oh wait, I have to make this joke work. It's harder to work on it in Twitter. A witch in Multiverse. One has to wonder if by flattening Wanda, a witch in Multiverse of Madness, Kevin Feige cursed himself. And we'll do a wide-eyed emoji. You can't use emojis. You can't use emojis on desktop, which really annoys me, because I love emojis. Then we'll have to do hashtag Marvel, hashtag MCU. And then let's do a nice GIF of Wanda. But she's got to be looking pretty crazy. Sorry, Wanda. Da, da, da. I want her to look really powerful. Scarlet Witch. Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. All right, I've posted it. I didn't even want to wait. Sorry to make you have to sit through that, but I just wanted to post it right now because it was so fun. All right, yeah, Xing in the process. I just X'd. That sounds really bad. Okay, so yeah, he flattened a witch, and he's been paying the price ever since, man. All right, so let's talk about this VFX situation. Let me explain it to you. That's right, Ivan. Kevin Feige, you in danger, girl. I like that one. Last night I was watching a lot of SNL Black Jeopardy sketches, and they were so funny. All right, so anyway, the Writers Guild has been on strike for 100 days. SAG has been on strike now for coming up on a month now. And then today, yesterday, Marvel's VFX workers who work in-house voted to join a union. And not just any union. They don't want to create a new union. They want to join IATSE, okay, which covers like everything off camera, like everything, costume designers, production designers, everything. I don't know, and IATSE wants them. You see this lovely little logo that says VFX Union and mimics the Marvel logo? Well, you'll see there's a little logo on the bottom right there next to Black Panther's fist, and that's the IATSE logo. So they've made that for them. And IATSE was tweeting about this yesterday. IATSE was like, heck yeah, we want all those dues. So this is not the VFX artists who voted to unionize. These are the in-house people who oversee Marvel's productions, and they oversee the VFX when they're filming, and maybe a little bit in post, but that's who they are. So that's who voted. And now Marvel, I guess, is going to have to deal with it. Now, this is, to me, people have been talking about this for a while, that VFX artists should unionize, just like everyone wants a stunt category at the Academy Awards. That still hasn't happened, which is ridiculous. We're still waiting, but I think we have a real union moment right now, and I think IATSE is going for it. So there have been a lot of, okay, we'll do a poll, Bafe. That's a good thought. We'll do a poll, start a poll. Who's going to vote no? Okay, should VFX workers unionize? Is that what the poll should be about? Because who would vote no? I can't do a poll on that. Obviously, the poll is yes, you know? All right, so IATSE could do a spin-off union, or this could be part of the giant IATSE union. If it was part of IATSE, it would make IATSE extremely powerful, because obviously the VFX people could go on strike and talk about shutting down the industry. So, I mean, I'm sure the executives are like, oh man, this is so bad, you know? All right, so anyway, for Marvel, there have been complaints about the working conditions for the VFX artists. The quality of the work has been said to be quite bad, right? But then also even over at Sony Animation, it was said that the Spider-Verse animators also were treated very poorly. And there's so much VFX. You can see that picture I grabbed of the big moment in Infinity War where they all charge each other in Wakanda. And as you can see, it's almost an entirely VFX sequence. These are almost really animated movies. Now, the question is, if these people are able to unionize, you know, that's how you unionize. All the workers need to vote to be part of the union. And then the company is stuck negotiating with the union then. So if this spreads to the VFX houses, then they would be protected by unions. Their hours would be protected by unions. They would be guaranteed health care, better employment. You know, right now they churn talent at VFX houses. You know, they sometimes will hire people temporarily just to work on a specific project, but then they let go of them immediately as soon as that's delivered. They don't have regular jobs. They'd also be able to keep them from having to work too long hours. They would also protect them from not getting paid fairly. They'd also insist that they were paid overtime, which often isn't the case these days. It would be a really, really big thing. So I wonder if this is going to go even beyond VFX animators to the animation business overall, like people who do animated movies. They're already pushing to unionize over the past few weeks. They really want to unionize. And then I wonder if this could also go over into the video game business, because it's blurring the line between VFX movies and the video games, because it's so much the same. You know, they're basically all animators, and they're all making animated movies. They're just under different categories: live action movies, animated movies, and video games. And you see a lot of the same complaints in the video game space. So I wonder if it's going to just be like a domino effect where all these people unionize. And that's going to slow projects down, and it's going to probably raise the prices on some of them too. They're going to become even more expensive, because clearly a lot of money is being saved here. You know, Hollywood, any business will squeeze wherever they can, which is why you need a union. Now, will Marvel go and become, like, Marvel's infamously aggressive behind the scenes. Disney as a whole is very aggressive as a company. They're very aggressive. We hear them talking all the time about how they're strong-arming even theaters in terms of booking screens for a certain amount of time. So will they dare to break unionization efforts like Amazon has been able to do effectively? It'll be curious to see how they navigate this and negotiate the situation. I mean, some people are not totally pro-union. Some people have been very against the writer's strike and the actor's strike because they want their content now. They want their jobs now. But I really think this is for a long term. And I also think that artificial intelligence is going to affect all these jobs in animation in every single area. VFX, regular animation, and video games. AI will come in and take a lot of the jobs. It'll consolidate the jobs. And I also think that it'll take away a lot of the entry-level jobs, which is really bad. So we'll see what they decide to do. But this was a major move that was made yesterday. I think that they did it intentionally at Marvel. I think that was a tactic because it's so high profile that they knew it would get a lot of attention, and also because there have been so many bad stories about Marvel. And by the way, this story once again went through Vulture. Somebody is going to Vulture. Somebody in the VFX business is intentionally going to Vulture and leaking these stories to get public opinion on their side and to really spread the word. It's very clever. And it's the same, a lot of times people will use the press in certain ways. And so it's very clever to whoever's doing that. I wonder if it's from the VFX community directly. I wonder if it's Yahtzee who's been planning this. But it's a very, very strong plan of attack. Lawson says, do you think that Kevin Feige is in danger of getting fired or replaced? How bad does it have to get for that to happen? Well, I think, you look at Kathleen Kennedy as a canary, right? I mean, she's been having a tougher time for a longer time, yet she's still there. And both Kathleen Kennedy and Kevin Feige have delivered. I'm sure Kevin Feige's like, I can't believe I'm being compared to Kathleen Kennedy, but yet we're like, we can't believe it either, man. What'd you do that for? I think that I don't see him getting replaced anytime soon. But I think that it's no longer out of the realm of I don't think it's any longer like impossible. Like before it seemed like a stupid thing to even contemplate. And now, I think before everybody was like, who would ever take over Marvel? Someday Marvel will be in great danger because Kevin Feige can't lead it. And now you're like, I wonder what they're going to do. That's an interesting question. You guys bring up an interesting question. There's a real lack of executives who are leaders creatively, and you're starting to need them to run these divisions. You need executives who aren't directors, who want to sit at a desk and run everything, because that's really crucial. James Gunn doesn't want to sit behind a desk. Who knows what Peter Safran's doing, right? But I think you need someone to run Star Wars. You need someone to run DC. You need someone to run Harry Potter. You need someone to run, I think, quite frankly, Disney live action. These are all really important things. And so I think that, where are these executives going to come from? Is this a job that's going to emerge? It's difficult because there's only so many of them. How do you train for 5 positions maybe that people would have for decades? It's really complex. I do agree, Mish, that it's crucial that they be fans. And so I think a big part of it is more fans being able to work in the industry. And how do you get that to happen? And I think, hey, Craig Puckett, I think Dre Films, I don't know if you changed the curriculum in film school. I think it's very tricky. I think that I wish that more people from outside could get into get in there. Maybe they shouldn't be hiring all the time from Ivy League schools. Maybe they should be hiring more executives from film schools, stuff like that. Maybe they should be really looking as to who gets jobs. What are the entry-level positions into the film business? I think it's important to continue to focus on diversity, but maybe they should also put in the conversation the types of individuals that they're going after. Is there a way to get comic book fans to learn the business and be more get in more into the business, I think that would be really fascinating. So I think that, that's something to consider. I think a lot of times they just hire, they have a pipeline of Ivy League people being put into the suits positions, and these people don't understand the business, and they don't sample their own product. And that creates a problem. And I think that's the same issue in the comic book print industry as well. There it's even worse. It's only people who there's almost no way to break into comic books. It's very hard. Ivan, that's a nice thing to say. Thank you. All right, does anybody have any questions about this? And then we'll move on to the third story of the day. That's very sweet of you to say, David. Anytime any of you think that I would be good to run a studio, it really means a lot to me. Harry Bull says the new focus on CGI is just a massive distraction from the real problem, which is shoddy, lazy, unoriginal writing. I agree, Harry. I think they also need to work better on, my contact's bothering me, 1 second. I think they also need to do a better job working on where they're hiring writers from as well. J-Lo, 1972, says, Grace, you said it would be terrible for actors if writers sign a contract, but writers are saying that even with the contract, they will not cross the picket line. It doesn't matter. J-Lo, that's an interesting question. Sorry, my eye's really bothering me. All right, I think I'm okay. J-Lo, to answer your question, I think that the issue would be is that it would become that the actors were the only ones holding up going back to work. So if the writers signed, it would mean that we could all go back to work if only SAG would sign. So nobody wants to be the last union standing, because then everyone's going to start to get really angry with them the more financial pressure is put on them. You're talking about everybody who works on film sets. They're going to say, all right, the writers came to a deal, why can't you? So we can all get back to work. I think that's where the issue comes in. Oh, who just gifted all those memberships? 1 second. Gareth gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. And we see, very generous with 20 memberships. Thank you so much. Brother Quantum, there's no plan of succession at Marvel. Nobody ever wants to put a plan of succession into effect, just like the TV show, because that means they'll fire the person and bring in the new person who is all groomed to take over. So nobody ever wants to create a successor, because then they'll be succeeded. So nobody will ever do that, which is why, I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. So generous, you guys, to gift the memberships. I would agree that the writing is the biggest issue, for sure. Hey, Rabbi, are you a rabbi? Rabbi Ziki? Mr. Andrew says, what's the advantage of creating a new union versus joining an already existing union? Well, Mr. Andrews, I think the benefit to joining an already existing union is that you can hit the ground running. They already have an infrastructure up and running. They know how to negotiate. They already have contacts within the industry. You have people who know the union business and what to ask for. Nobody needs to learn how to run a union, from the ground up. So you already have something that's put together. And then also you have all these other union people who will back you up. If they join IATSE, that means that everybody else will fight for them. So you have the costume designers, the grips, production designers, everybody, makeup artists, they're all under this union. And so VFX people would be part of the same family. However, VFX is so huge and unwieldy that I think they might have to create maybe an offshoot of IATSE, which still falls under the IATSE umbrella, but is its own space. I personally feel all animators should be in one union. VFX, animation, and video games. Although video games aren't Hollywood, so they might have to have their own union. But in the animation industry, I think VFX artists and animators are all the same group, quite frankly, and I would put them in the same union. GMAS says, is Disney just too big of a company? Well, I don't think so. And the government allowed it, so it's too late. Heather says, Ivy League execs are hired because Wall Street trusts them. Will they continue to, though, Heather? Because they're not performing. I think that's what happens. Oh, look at Philip Norton. I've just been gifted a membership. No idea how or who, but thank you. Oh, I love it. I love people being happy that they got a membership. Interstellar Green Bean says, ticket prices will go up considerably and the experience in the theater continues to get worse. The industry is about to change significantly on so many different fronts. I agree. I don't know what it's going to take for the theaters to have a eureka moment where they realize they need to create a better experience of going to the movies, but we'll see. They're like, wait a minute, what if this was actually a nice thing to do? Maybe people would go and more often. Oh, that's funny, Patrick. We are gonna boom baby on Oppenheimer in just a minute. And then G for S says, hi, Grace, I wonder if the VFX workers go on strike. Could this possibly be a big comeback for mid-budget films like Barbie? Barbie has a ton of CGI. Which is interesting. I think that's interesting. You don't. It's very well done. You don't even recognize it, but that's a lot of CGI. But I mean, that would be interesting. I think a VFX union would be incredible. No, the foot scene, Sierra Dougie, is not VFX. That one is practical. And a lot of the stuff was actually built. But some of the backgrounds are VFX. I mean, you can see them filming behind the scenes, and a lot of it uses blue and green screen. A VFX union would, I think, wield tremendous power. Holly Driver says, with Ms. Marvel being shown on ABC despite being a Disney Plus series, does that mean the actors will get more residuals? I don't think so, Holly, because it's only going to be shown once, and it's not going to run for a whole season. So I think it's a different type of scenario. I mean, there might be some residuals there, maybe, but because it's a Disney Plus series, they probably didn't sign a deal for residuals, quite frankly. Oh, I don't care, Bear says, my brother's friend did mocap for the beach scene. Oh, that's great. See? All right, we're starting to get to questions that don't have anything to do with the story. So let's move on to the third story of the day, and then we can do the Q&A. All right, that's right. Boom, baby, for Oppenheimer. But there was no big boom in the movie, which I continue to be upset about. But anyway, good news for Oppenheimer. Oppie, as he's called, Oppie, the 70 millimeter Imax print, which is the film print that's shown in Imax, not if they do it digitally. But the 70 millimeter Imax run, which is in a lot of the Imax screens, has been extended now through the end of August. It was only going to run through August 17th to allow Blue Beetle to take over Imax screens, but no more. Instead, Oppenheimer will run there through the rest of the month. And that's not only not great for Blue Beetle, although Blue Beetle will be able to play on Dolby, so that'll all work out. It'll be fine. That just shows that Dolby can allow this to happen by having different types of premium screens. But I think the real problem is that Mission Impossible ain't never getting back on an IMAX screen. Tom Cruise had hoped to get in there after even just 1 week of Oppenheimer, saying, who's going to buy IMAX tickets for Oppenheimer? And everybody did. It turned out to be the way of choice to see it. And so I think that Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is just not going to get back on those screens. So that really sucks for Tom Cruise. Now, I looked into Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2 and what that situation looked like. Now, that comes out June 28th. It's basically taking the Indiana Jones spot from this year, next year. The big 4th of July movie next summer is Despicable Me 4. That doesn't need IMAX screens, so Tom Cruise will be able to keep that. Then Venom 3 and Twisters come out the week after. And so maybe I think those would be fine on just Dolby. And then I don't think you have a problem until Captain America Brave New World, which for sure we'll want to play on IMAX with all those Hulks. And that comes out July 26th. So that gives Tom Cruise 3 weeks on IMAX screens. So I hope he's smart enough to lock that in now. He should really, after this experience, he should insist and say, please, I need you to sign a contract that I'm guaranteed these IMAX screens up until Captain America Brave New World. And let's see if he can get it. Although Dead Reckoning Part 1 didn't do very well, so IMAX theater owners might be reluctant to sign that. They might be like, well, let's see how your movie does. Maybe we want to put Twisters or Venom 3 on our IMAX screens, for just a week. I mean, a lot of you were pretty excited about Twisters. I just mentioned it by name, and a lot of you lit up. So you're like, yeah, sorry, Tom Cruise, but I'd like to see some tornadoes in IMAX. Thank you very much. So I think it's interesting how popular the Oppenheimer IMAX print has become, especially for a movie that does not really need IMAX at all, because it doesn't have that big explosive moment. It doesn't have these big sequences that, you would think would traditionally need an IMAX screen. But yet everybody's really into it. I think part of it is the legend of the IMAX print itself. It takes 3 days to make it. It is made directly from Nolan's own negative. It's 11 miles long and weighs 600 pounds, and some theater owners don't even know how to play it. Some theater owners had to fly in projectionists from bigger cities to be able to run this thing. So I think that's kind of cool. I mean, I made sure that I saw it in IMAX myself because I was like, well, that's how Christopher Nolan intended it. And while I don't think it has that big IMAX-esque moment to it, it is a visually striking film. It's an attractive movie. And so it is kind of cool to see it in IMAX. You know, like if you're going to see it in theaters, you might as well see it in IMAX because that's the way Nolan intended it. So it's like, okay, it is a lot like going to a museum and being like, well, I got to go look at it. And so that's cool. That's neat. So that's yet another thing that I think that Christopher Nolan has managed to do. And I would love it. I hope Killers of the Flower Moon and Napoleon both play on IMAX. And that would be really exciting to kind of start to have movies take on a work of art quality again. You know, IMAX has been taken over by visual effects movies, you know, and comic book movies and stuff like that. But wouldn't it be great if people were like, I need to see this gorgeous frame on as big a screen as possible. I want to see Napoleon charge across on his horses, you know? Steven says, I'm still upset that I couldn't see Barbie on IMAX. I guess, but you know, I don't think Barbie needed IMAX. Barbie on Dolby was still really great. And I saw Barbie, I never saw Barbie on a premium screen. I saw it at the Warner Brothers screening room. Mwah, so nice, so beautiful. I love the Warner Brothers screening room in New York. It's a movie theater in the sky. It's lovely. And then I saw it at the iPic downtown in their biggest theater, and that was great. So I don't think Barbie needed a premium screen whatsoever. So yeah. So I think that's great. I think really, you know, I think this is very nice that Napoleon, I read the Elias comment. I think this is a nice thing that Nolan has done, and I would love to have more of film as art. All right, so those are the 3 stories of the day. Oh, does anyone have any questions about this? Mr. Andrew says, is this because Blue Beetle is tracking very low? I think that, I don't know how low Blue Beetle was supposed to still open around 30, like the Meg 2. But I think that Blue Beetle will be fine just on Dolby and regular screens. And I think that the difference is that Oppenheimer is selling so well. I mean, still, at AMC Lincoln Square, the IMAX is sold out every single screening. They just can't have enough screenings for it. And that's really cool. So, of course, keep it that way. Oh, Matt makes a good point that IMAX is prioritizing films that have been shot in IMAX, and Blue Beetle and the Marvels both have not. Talking about Dune, of course. Spoofaman said Dune 2 is getting a 6-week run in IMAX. That's ridiculous. 6 weeks? I don't know if it has enough. I don't know if maybe Dune does. Maybe. 6 weeks seems like too much to me. I would do maybe 4 weeks. I'm like, 6 weeks, let's see how it does. I do 4 weeks with the option to extend. That's right, John. It doesn't look as much fun here, though. It's not as fun. This glass has more weight to it, so it's not as much fun as the Sweeney Todd glass. Let's see here. Let's do a poll on that, about Dune. I know you guys like the polls. How long would you book Dune 2 for IMAX? 6 weeks. 4 weeks. 2 weeks. And then just 1 week. Some movies only get 1 week. I'm sorry I couldn't do a 3 week. You guys are like, 2 days, 3 days. Oh, look at Leanne getting a gifted membership. Oh, I love it, you guys. Welcome, Leanne. All right, so anybody have any questions about this? Silver scale. Yes, water for both of us. Any questions about this while you guys are voting? And then we'll move on to the Q&A. Oh, B says, what else would get the IMAX besides the Marvels or Hunger Games? Oh, look at J-Lo gifting 5 memberships. Thank you. I guess maybe Disney's Wish, but does Disney's Wish need to be in IMAX? I don't think so. All right, giving us another minute on the voting because you guys don't have any questions about this, and then we'll go to the Q&A. Bafe says, what would ever replace IMAX? I don't know. I think they should focus on releasing more like real IMAX screens. I think a lot of IMAX theaters are not fully IMAX, like they're baby IMAXs. I've been to plenty of IMAXs where I'm like, this isn't an IMAX. All right. Holly, your husband thinks my background is a green screen. As I always say, I can't, let me see, where is it? Here. I can't animate. No, wait, am I right? No, it's here. Yeah, it is here. I'm flipped around. I can't animate these cars. Tell your husband I don't have the budget to animate the cars. But I appreciate him thinking that it is a green screen. All right, so we'll end the poll. My vote would be 4 weeks. All right, so most of you agree with me. Most of you agree, 2 to 4 weeks. Nobody thinks it should be 6 weeks, really. Yeah, so we'll see. All right, yeah, and also, where would the sun be coming from? That's a good point, Bafe. I would have to have like a whole crew back there with a giant light, floodlight. And then I'd be like, turn it down, it's too sunny. All right, let's do the Q&A. 10 minutes of glorious Q&A till 4:40. Oh, Jojo Bell, have a great time at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You gotta have pizza. Movie theater, I know movie theater pizza isn't always the best, but you gotta have pizza. Or Sour Patch Kids, because the movie has a lot of Day-Glo stuff in it. Let's see here. Hold on. Edwin says, will we get more of 70 millimeter IMAX theater numbers? You mean like the theaters, like actual theaters? I'm not sure. Hold on. Mr. Seymour Duck says, did you hear? It was just reported that Disney created a task force to explore AI across all divisions. I think everybody's doing that, unfortunately. I'm really disappointed in it. I hope that there's an ethicist who is involved. And who is actually ethical and not just a name only. Lawson says, any tea about a Scarlet Witch solo project special presentation? What would you do with Wanda going forward if it was up to you? I would forget, Wanda does not have great comic book stories. So I would forget Children's Crusade and I would forget all these other things. I would just I would just tell a story about Wanda. Something that concerned me is that I found out that Wiccan, Billy, is not going to be the only LGBT couple in the Agatha Disney Plus show. And I don't want his thunder to be stolen. I really would just prefer to focus on, Wiccan and Hulkling, ideally. And, I hope that they make the right decisions with that show. Let's see here. Lawson, I would just tell a fresh, new, really great Wanda story where she got to be super powerful and she was in charge, maybe a West Coast Avengers project, put her on the Avengers as a main member. I just would like more respect for Wanda. Isaac says, hi, Grace. My name is Isaac and I'm a huge fan. Oh, yeah. I love watching your videos. They are so cool. And thanks to you, I'm a huge fan of movies. That makes me so happy, Isaac. Welcome, and thank you. I'm so honored that's what you decided to do with your first super chat, to say something so nice. LL says, Grace, is it true that Snow White might get taxed off like Batgirl? I have not heard that. I don't know if Disney would ever do that, although I have to say that if I were Disney, if I were Bob Iger, I would consider it if the pictures are, if it's not much better than the pictures. Dwight Baldwin says, why are some TV shows being delayed because of the strike and some are not? I think it depends on if they've already dropped trailers, if the streaming service needs content or if it doesn't. I think it's a couple of factors. I think Ahsoka is ready to go and Disney Plus needs it. Britt says, my kitty suddenly passed away. Oh, I'm so sorry, Britt, and I felt incredibly guilty. Oh, I'm so sorry. Your content, like always, has comforted and distracted me. Oh, I'm so happy, Britt. We've all been there. We've all gotten stuck in a really bad emotional space. And I know how important it is myself to be able to find something to distract yourself. So I'm so happy that I could do that for you, that we all could, that this community could. Don't feel guilty about your cat. I'm so sorry that happened. I'm sure, obviously you were a wonderful pet owner and friend to your kitty. So I'm sorry that happened. Will, I did not get a chance to watch Heartstopper Season 2. I think to me it came out too close to Good Omens Season 2. And so, and I watched Good Omens Season 2, which I thought was pretty good. Steven says, have you read recent Hellfire Gala comic? Jean Grey was so powerful and heroic, made me excited for her solo that starts the end of the month. I don't know. I don't like the Marvel comic books right now. I don't think they're very good. Thank you, Gabe. Oh, wow. Hold on. Let me get to this question first. That's very generous of you, Mars73. Hey, Grace, thank you so much for everything that you do for the movie community. As I have disclosed before that your videos helped me through my chemotherapy sessions. This week was a rough week as I was also diagnosed with a blood clot and a mini stroke. Mars73, hang in there. Hang in there, Mars73. I'm glad they caught it. I'm glad you're still fighting the good fight. This stuff can take a long time. And thank you for the update on your health. I'm really glad that we could hear back from you. And I'm sorry that happened. But again, as I said, I'm really glad they caught it. And we are here for you. Writer Boy says, can you do a Halle Bailey video review for Angel? Is that like a music video? I don't review music videos. Gigi says, can a British actor be a part of SAG? If so, can they be a part of an ongoing project, House of the Dragon, or any other projects outside of the U.S.? I think they can. Like Hugh Jackman is a SAG member. But I think if a UK actor works primarily in the UK, then maybe they're not a SAG actor. I'm not quite sure how that works, to be honest with you. Maria says, what would you pitch as a new movie franchise idea? Oh, that's a great question, Maria. I like the idea of bringing back Narnia. It's hard, off the top of my head, it's hard for me to come up with like a new thing. I think it's a good idea to start looking into video games after the success of Super Mario Brothers and The Last of Us. I would definitely be working on a Zelda movie. I think, they should be constantly looking for new spaces of fandom, It's like the pockets of fandom that exist across the world are incredible. And it's really cool. So I think that someone should be looking into that. Lewis Berry says Bradley Cooper and Awuji, who was the bad guy, say they deserve Oscar noms for Guardians 3. I don't know. Awuji was really good, but I just don't think that's that kind of movie. I think there's too much other good competition. Michael, I'm going to try and cover the Disney earnings call tomorrow in a live stream. I should be able to do it. Ricky says, what do you think of the new Ahsoka posters? I don't think they're very good. I don't like the new Ahsoka posters. And of course, it's so bad that Ray Stevenson passed away. He's, of course, the big villain on the show. Charlie says, what do you think the potential is for Barbie and theme parks? Could this be something Universal could capitalize on? Oh, I never thought of a Barbie land. Well, if they don't make more Barbie movies, I think that could be hard to do. I kind of like the idea of a Barbie land, though. Maybe like if they did a Barbie 2, maybe like a Barbie like fever event, like they do Stranger Things and stuff like that, like a ticketed live event. So I don't know if I'd put the money into a theme park, but I would maybe put the money into a traveling event and do it that way. I think that could be really cool. Adrianic, I think Emma Stone, I don't know if she'd be a good Harley Quinn anymore. I think at a point she would have been a really good Harley Quinn, but I don't know about now. Midnight Bard, happy anniversary to us. I love it. And then Raphael says, how can Amazon be allowed to film the new heads of state here in Italy despite the strike? Are they using only Italian employers? They must be, because they can't. If they were using anybody else, it would be against the strike. Navy EMT says, any thoughts on the possible AMC bankruptcy report? I haven't had any thoughts about it. I think bankruptcy doesn't mean as much these days anymore. I think it'll be fine. They'll clean out their stuff. They'll sell off some stuff, hit reset, and come back. I mean, they're still the biggest movie theater company. see here. Adil says, Barbie was perfect for Dolby Cinema. I loved it. Yeah, it was great. Rodney would also like a Barbie Land at Universal Studios. 50 Pence says, I'm a therapist and I think your sensitivity is consistently on point. Oh, what a nice thing. I'm so glad that you as a therapist feel that way. Has therapy helped in your life? Therapy seems to be better received in the States. That's an interesting question, 50 Pence. You know, I've never really thought much about therapy because I'm very fortunate to have some family members that I can talk to as you would a therapist. But I think in the past couple of years or so, I've become very aware of the problems of mental health for people. And I've come to the realization that most people don't have someone to talk to. So I really do believe that therapy is a great thing. And while again, as I said, I'm fortunate enough to have people in my life that I can talk to in that regard. If you don't have someone like that, I do think that, you know, there is something to be said for maybe at least exploring whether or not therapy is a good idea. But yeah, you know, I think mental health is like really important, and understanding people are different and the way people even think is different. That stuff's all really fascinating to me. Oh, Mandela Butterfly says they're making a Barbie Land in Arizona. Is it sanctioned? Really? That sounds interesting to me. Mish, I do plan to cover Ahsoka, all the Ahsoka stuff for sure. Hey, Sebastian. Is that the sign of the devil after your name? Bold move, my friend. Oh, I love everybody sending positive ways to Mars 73. NWA says, what did you think about the Alabama riverboat brawl? NWA, you're always causing problems. I totally agree with Mama Tot. I saw Mama Tot's video going around yesterday. She even trended on Twitter. I'd never heard of her before. I thought she was delightful. I would agree with her. I think it was pretty clear who started the fight. And I'm really glad that so many people came to that security guard's defense. Holly Jervis says, have you watched the Welsh language series, Deli Durful? Is that really a thing? I've never seen it. I don't speak Welsh. Miguel Labrador says, I think you would like what they did for Heartstopper Season 2. Oh, yeah, I've heard very positive things about it. Paul Brunel says, no spoilers, but I'm surprised at the level of surprises and only murders so far. Tell me about it. Those first two episodes are a roller coaster. But yeah, Paul Rudd is great. I like Paul Rudd. I don't think he's that good on the show, but I do love Paul Rudd. Layla, I am still reading Saga. When's the next issue coming out? But I love it. They're not long enough. Britt, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. And then Gamer on a Budget says, what do you think about the Krakoa era of X-Men? I hates it. I like it when they're in a school. Rajiv says, Grace, I'm excited for Heart of Stone this weekend because of Aliyah Banat. She is a great Indian actress. I'm trying to get a screener. Did they write me back yet? They don't even have a publicist assigned to it. It's driving me crazy. I had to fill out some weird form. Still haven't written me back. I'll have to bother them after this stream and be like, I filled out your stupid form. Where's my screener? Mr. Seymour Duck says, ESPN and Disney just announced an agreement with Penn Entertainment to launch ESPN BET. Sports betting is oh, I thought it was like BET for the Black Entertainment Television. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So it's sports betting. I think that betting is a real affliction and people have real gambling addiction. And I think it's a mistake for major companies to get in on that. Like, what's Disney going to do? Send someone to break your kneecaps if you don't pay? Slap you around a little bit? I mean, I think that's just, I don't know why they would want to be in that business. We'll see what happens. I wonder why they would announce it today before their earnings call tomorrow. That's weird. Or their latest quarterly report. But that's weird. All right. I loved watching Winning Time on Sunday night. And John C. Reilly was like, oh, we're trying out we gave an interview to a new sports enterprise called ESPN. And that was so great. And everybody was like, what a waste of time. Everybody will be just on network. And I was like, I love that, John C. Reilly's character is so great. Jerry Buss, the way he takes risks and it was really brought business to sports. It's such a good show. B says, most anticipated movie for the rest of the year. I'm really excited about Killers of the Flower Moon and Napoleon, I gotta tell you. Harry says, do you think complacency and talent is killing quality? We're fostering a culture where criticism is seen as unproductive and almost taboo. Nobody is brave enough to stick their neck on the line. Well, Harry, I think part of the issue is that there's criticism of constructive feedback. I think you have a thing on social media now where a lot of talent will say, can you believe this note that I got? And so I think it scares a lot of executives to give notes. And that's a problem. So hopefully it works itself out. Aneka says, I agree. Your channel has really helped me survive through severe depression. Oh, Aneka, I'm so sorry to hear that you were going through that, but I'm glad that I was able to be of some help. That's awesome, Aneka. Stay strong, and realize that everybody struggles. I think that modern society tries to put out this idea that everybody's okay. Everybody's having a great time but you. And that's just totally not true. That's why I wish there was more talk about mental health and what people are going through, so people would realize that they're not alone. I think a lot of people feel they're alone. Nicholas says, hi Grace, I just wanted to share that in my radio show at university, we talked about the Fantastic Four updates and the Wonder Woman 3 announcement. It was very fun. That's wonderful. I'm glad you had a good time. Those are great stories. Steve says, member for 26 months. You never see my comments. I'm seeing it now, but I'm such a fan and you have great content. Say hi, Steve. I'm glad I saw this one. Casey says, hi, Grace. Random question. What would be your top pick for an outdoor movie in New York City? They showed Uncut Gems in Bryant Park, and it fits so well. That's a great movie for Bryant Park. That's hilarious. That's great. I would be a little nervous to do outdoor movies right now. Because of COVID, but because you're usually so packed together, but that sounds like a fun one. I love Uncut Gems. Gabe, did I say thanks? Thanks, Gabe. Oh, I'm over. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. David Kyle says, Grace, do you think Emma Stone will get another Best Actress from Poor Things? I'd have to see the movie, but I don't know. Sierra Dougie says, Grace, did you ever watch Bionic Woman or $1 Million Man? I've heard of them, but I don't think I've ever seen them. Fall 2, I'm so glad you enjoyed Succession and you liked the ending. I know it was a little divisive. Let's see here. Shadow Gaming, who also has their first super chat, says, well, hello, will WandaVision be in What If Season 2? I'm not sure. I'm not even sure when that's coming out. It's taking so long. Steven, I did not watch The Horror of Dolores Roach, I'm afraid. Oh, Sierra Dougie says, turns out it was the co-captain, not a security guard. Oh, you mean like the captain of the ship? Are you talking about the Montgomery thing? Well, that would make sense because that's why so many people from the ship leapt to his defense. April says, can you post or repost what episodes you watch to prep for Ahsoka? I most certainly will. I'll do that right after this. Oh, James, I'm so glad to hear that I've helped you with your mental health as well. That makes me feel so good. I'm so happy that I could be of help. Let's see here. Oh, Isaac, I'm sorry your message got retracted. I don't have any Superman in DCUT at the moment, Galliot Productions, I'm afraid. All right, shout out time. Okay. Where are you? What are you doing? Let me say hi. What's going on? Let me say hello. How you doing? Visionary, I have seen The Prestige. I'll tell you a funny story about The Prestige. Will I? No, maybe I won't. No, someday. Let's see here. Anna Reckless says, catching my first live stream with my newborn son after our first trip to baby cinema to see Barbie. Anna, congratulations on your son. That's so wonderful. And so cool that there was a baby cinema showing so you could go to see Barbie in theaters. What a great thing. Hello to your son. Welcome to the world, little movie fan. Oh, hey, Mr. Magic in Portland. Always so nice to see you. Danny in Guatemala. So nice to see you, as usual, playing video games. Let's see here. Heather S. is working. Gritter Play says, hi, Grace. I finally finished every single episode of Star Wars Rebels without the cheat sheet. I think I'm ready for Ahsoka. Thank you for recommending everyone to watch it. My pleasure, and thanks to everyone who recommended me to watch it. Mr. Andrews says, as usual, on the other side of the pond. Greetings from Barcelona. Oh, hello. I like your picture, Mr. Andrews. You look great. Shadow Gaming says, is there a Scarlet Witch movie in the works? I haven't heard about it. I haven't heard anything. Oh, Chris Ilsley is playing video games in London. Let's see here. Alien Moose Studios is sipping cocktails and enjoying the rain in Maine. Oh, that sounds very poetic. It's like the plane in Spain, the rain in Maine. I love it. Kahiris, yes, I saw Emerald Fennel and Barbie. She's Midge, but it's a good spot that you got her. You saw her there. David Q says it's 103 in Texas and it feels like 115. Waiting to get out of the office and beating the flu. You have the flu in the middle of summer? That's crazy. Oh no, I want something cold to drink. Feel better. That's crazy. Adrianic is in Puerto Rico watching anime. Fabby is painting their bedroom while watching the live stream. Oh, what color, Fabby? Ivan says, hey, Grace, finishing up work, nervous about doing my triathlon at the end of the month in Chicago, but I go on runs and listen to live streams, and I miss your company. You miss my company, or my company is the best? I'm glad it seems I'm helping you train. That's very exciting. And also, I'm sure that other people are doing a triathlon for the first time as well. So just go out there and have fun. And if you don't feel well, there's no shame in taking a break. You don't want to pass out on the triathlon. If you need to sit down, I'm sure they'll have people around you to help you. And that's just really important. Just listen to your body. LL says, just ate a kebab sandwich while on vacation in Cairo, Egypt. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Ben 10 says, going to sleep but staying up for you. Lots of love from France. Bonne nuit, Ben 10. There's some of my grade school French for you. Al Watch says, bought my tickets to Blue Beetle on the 18th. Can we do the watch along on Sunday? I can't do watch alongs on Sunday, Al Watch. I'm tired of telling you we're going to do them and then I can't do it because of movie math. And movie math takes up so much of my time that it's a little hard for me to do a watch along after that. I called up, I was talking to my mom on Sunday night and she was like, what'd you do today? And I was like, I just made movie math. I got up and I made movie math. That's all I did. And she kind of was like, oh. She part of her couldn't believe it. I was like, that was my day. I just made movie math. That was all that I did. And she was like, okay. And so it's hard for me to do, and then I'm just so exhausted that it's hard for me to do a watch along after that. So no more Sunday night watch alongs. Let's see here. Wandering Seth is in Dresden, Germany. Luna in the Sky with Diamond says, good morning from Japan. Oh, good morning. It's been a while, but I'm so glad I caught this live. Wonderful and informative as always. Thanks, Luna. That's so cool you're in Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan. Ricardo says, love your movie math videos, Grace. Thank you. Thanks, Ricardo. I'm glad you guys enjoy them. I really love movie math. Movie math means so much. I'm so honored that people make it like a big Sunday thing for them. So I want to make sure that I not only deliver the episode, but that it's long and it's chock full of stuff, so it just takes the whole day. I'm trying to get it up a little earlier, though. It's been going up a little bit later than I would like. Thanks, Haunted Autumn. That's a very nice thing to say. And thanks, Dolan. Mandela Butterfly, I really appreciate that. Yeah, Mandela, I'm trying to do, so this is the watch along that I have planned. It's Fridays I like to go out, but damn it, we got to do these monthly watch alongs. So once a month, I'm going to spend my Fridays with the watch along. So for Friday, August 18th, it's expensive because you guys are going to have to buy or rent at full price, No Hard Feelings, the Jennifer Lawrence movie. So I decided that comes out on Tuesday. So next Friday, we're going to watch it as the watch along at 6 p.m. So if you're not a movie club member, you can upgrade if you want to join in. And I've never seen it before. So we'll watch it for the first time together. And I thought that would be a fun, raunchy movie to do that for. So I thought that would be a good use of the watch along. I feel really bad I couldn't do, they cloned Tyrone, but it took me so long to get to it that I think everybody watched it by now. And so I just, I'm trying to come up with something fun. Dory does voice. This is Grace. Just want to let you know to keep up the good work while I work. We're both working hard, Dory. And you like my hair. Thank you. I finally learned, I got a cool blowout tool. I found these amazing products to do my hair that don't have any chemicals in them. Like I finally figured out how to do it. So that means a lot. Oh, Connor, thank you for gifting a membership. Let's see. Anyone else for shout outs? And then I got to go. Bye, Danny. Oh, Mr. Andrews, I'm glad you enjoy Movie Math on Monday with your breakfast. That's great. Starry's about to get McDonald's. Oh, delicious. They're so tasty. I haven't had them in so long. Oh, hey, Brent. Always so nice to see you. I'm glad you were able to pop in and say hi. I hope you have a great day too, Audra. All right, let me get going. Oh, wait, hold on. Writer Boy says, what's your favorite thing about New York? My partner and I want to visit. I really think it's fun to walk around and explore New York. All the neighborhoods feel very different. It's really fun to be out and about and experience the energy of the city. So, New York has some really well-known tourist areas for a reason. So just make time to explore that and to walk around, and also to allow yourself time to have a fun discovery, to pop into something maybe you weren't planning to do. And I think you'll have a really good time. Owlwatch says, what detergent do you use? That's a funny, interesting question. I use 7th generation because it's mostly free of bad chemicals. So I use 7th generation laundry detergent and dishwashing detergent. All right, everybody. I had a wonderful time with you as always. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you. I'm hoping tomorrow's live stream will be late. It'll be after the Disney earnings call. I'm hoping to do it at 5 o'clock. So 5 o'clock tomorrow should be tomorrow's live stream. I hope I'm planning to review Gran Turismo later this week. I'm hoping also to review Heart of Stone. And then some other stuff. There'll be some other fun videos coming out towards the end of the month. But we're gonna have good times. And then of course also the week after next, Blue Beetle time, right? So that'll be great to finally see that and discuss it. Let's see if it's hopefully it can rally. I'm not sure. I have no idea how that's going to turn out. I'm very curious. All right, everybody. See you soon. Bye bye. Bye bye.